Whether or not the league returns, this video I'm showing you the 9 most shocking teams from the 2020 NBA season. You'll see how each squad's win total compared to their preseason projection and find out every reason why, for mostly the better, but in some cases the worse.
The reality is we suck right now, and
these squads have performed nothing close to our expectations. I'm Adam, this is D-Flow Hoops. If you're craving for more NBA content during this tough suspension, splash that subscribe button to stay tuned. I've got a ton of intriguing lists coming up. And lastly, before the list, feel free to go follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram at D-Flow Hoops for both platforms. Appreciate y'all. Keep in mind, these shocking teams are in no particular order. Having said that, number 1 is the Memphis Grizzlies. They were projected to be the 15th seed by ESPN, following finishing 12th in 2018-19, but before the league suspension, they were 4 games ahead of Portland in the loss column to hold the 8th and final West playoff seed. Grind City, seeing their 2019 second overall pick turned rookie sensation Ja Morant vamp the production of everyone he's surrounded with. On his own, the 20-year-old's making about 50% of his shots while putting up 17.6 points per game, but it's Morant's explosiveness off the bounce, combined with his under-control quarterbacking nature, that's made his teammates way better than they were in prior seasons. Take their stretch big Jaren Jackson Jr., for example, who doubled his 3-point attempts in his second season, but has been way more efficient from out there. Or Delon Brooks and Jonas Valanciunas, who've both set career highs in scoring, but what if I told you there's another Grizzlies rookie who's also opened up the floor for those veterans? That'd be the 21st pick from last year, Brandon Clark, whose grittiness and hops have been damn valuable and shocking. There's great storylines all around this year in Memphis. Number 2, the Philadelphia 76ers. In my standings predictions last July, I gave the Sixers the 2nd seed after they picked up Horford and Richardson. They've had chemistry issues and conversely are further down in the East, tied for the 6th seed. Al Horford hasn't come close to living up to his now looking ridiculous $27 million cap hit. That's going to increase annually until he's at the age of 37. Boston's offense has been much faster and all around better this year, without the 11 shots required from slow-footed Al. In 2018-19, Philly was right ahead of the Celtics for 7th in offensive efficiency. In 2019-20 though, yes, losing Jimmy Butler and JJ Redick doesn't help, but 31 minute per game Al's regressed the 76ers offense to 16th in the league. I know Simmons' lack of a jumper takes a brunt of the criticism from casuals, but Ben can guard 1 through 4 and is valuable everywhere else for Philly. Horford just isn't much of a threat, which lets defenses load up on Joel and Ben. But to keep the brotherly love intact, I'll mention how Shake Milton has had some special outings and is flashing some serious scoring potential in his second year. The 23-year-old was averaging around 20 points per game on 58% from the field and 60% shooting from 3 in the 7 games before the season got held up. Some shocking stuff from 2018's 54th draft selection. Number 3, the Oklahoma City Thunder. You're about to see the first of 2 teams on this list where I had brutal projections for prior to the season, as I had the Thunder as the number 15 ranked seed back in July.
wow.
To be fair, ESPN had them at number 13, and you should hit Vegas if you assume the Thunder could mesh this well in such a deep Western Conference. Top to bottom, the Thunder players seemed to take that disrespect to heart and used it as motivation. The Thunder, unbelievably, have 40 wins if the season were to resume, and they were only a game back of having home court advantage in the first round. From veterans Dennis Schroeder and Danilo Gallinari to Chris Paul, it's hard to pinpoint OKC's most surprising player, but I'll quickly key in on their sophomore phenom Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's a prospect that has league takeover type potential. The 21-year-old's got an overwhelming 6'11.5" wingspan while being listed at a height of just 6'5". Combine that with his mesmerizing ball handling into seamlessly manufactured shots under pressure, and he's one of the top up-and-comers in the NBA in my opinion. Gilgeous-Alexander's more offensively polished than stars that have been in the league a decade plus, and his stats vamping this drastically in just his second year should scare wings in his conference. Number 4, the Milwaukee Bucks. This is an easy and quick team. The dominating Deer would have had 70 wins if they won every one of their remaining games. How could they not qualify for this list? Last video I talked about Giannis's place in history and his steadily dominant development since 2013. After you finish this vid, go check that one out. Now let's look at this beastly Bucks supporting cast. I mean, my guy George Hill is leading the league in three-point percentage. Everyone assumed his best years were behind him, and Chris Middleton looks nothing like that player that crumbled in last year's East Finals. Although 80% of the credit at the very least goes to the Greek Freak for this 53-win slaughtering of the league with 17 games to play, Middleton's averaged about 25 after the All-Star break, and he takes a good amount of the pressure off Giannis. Number 5, the Dallas Mavericks. 2 words, Luka Magic. That's it, Mavs fans who clicked on this video. In all seriousness, this was my 11th seed in July. However, 2011 championship coach Rick Carlisle's instead led his squad to 40 wins so far, and seen Slovenian phenom Luka Doncic elevate into a superstar. Luka's got the handle of Uncle Drew, can step back like the Beard, drive to the bucket, and facilitate like Braun, while having the shooting range of Stephen. No, that's Steven, not Stephen.
No one would make that connection.
Can't forget Tim Hardaway Jr. He's proved he can be a valuable contributor on a winning team in his 8th season. I ranked him as one of my top free agents at shooting guard. And Kristaps Porzingis is just getting more and more comfortable after he becomes further removed from the infamous ACL tear from New York. The potential-filled European duo of Doncic and Porzingis combines to reach an age of just 45, and their games are a perfect fit for the three-point shooting ways of the modern NBA, meaning for the next decade, you'll be hearing their names in the playoffs deep into the spring. The next 4 teams you can't miss. First, Nicholas Esmail gets the shout-out, saying that Kobe's the greatest draft steal of all time, giving an extremely insightful comment. Thanks for that take and for every other answer from the best Hoops Talk community on YouTube. Number 6, the Golden State Warriors. This one's a bad look on my prediction resume, and pretty embarrassing, honestly. And not because I'm a Warriors fan. That's the opposite of the case, in fact. I've been a die-hard Raptor fan since I started watching ball, but I somehow had the Warriors 3rd in the West last July. Now keep in mind, this was the start of the offseason where Golden State had just acquired D'Angelo Russell. Of course, late in the season, he was flipped for Wiggins. But before the season, we also assumed the best shooter in NBA history would be healthy. But the chef went down, and Aaron Baines' 265-pound frame fell on his hand, fracturing it and keeping Curry out for the season. ESPN had the Dubs 6th in the West. Instead, they went from having utter West dominance to being injury-ridden conference dwellers. 15 damn wins is all the quote-unquote Warriors could muster. Draymond Green's triple-single averages have been roasted by Charles Barkley, which fans in the Bay likely had no choice to enjoy, giving the TNT Crews a better product than their local hoops team.
He had his normal triple-single. No, man, he talks all that stuff when he got them other boys with him. Now he got out there and fight for himself, he just don't want to play.
I still think the Dubs will be back to their similar winning selves once they're healthy, but boy oh boy, it's been shockingly ugly for them. Number 7, the Toronto Raptors. People thought they'd crumble with Kawhi moving to LA. Some, like Dennis Scott, said they wouldn't make the playoffs. ESPN had them finishing with 45 wins, but with 18 games left, Toronto had one more win than that projection. And you're really looking at this NBA generation's San Antonio Spurs in terms of their front office prominence. Since President Masai Ujiri's arrival in June of 2013, he's turned the Six into champions and continuing title contenders, even after an all-time great's departure. There's Fred VanVleet, Terrence Davis, Kyle Lowry, Norman Powell, and Serge Ibaka, plus even more role players having wild seasons, but I'll analyze a man
whose nickname is Spicy P.
Pascal Siakam just made his first All-Star game 9 years after he picked up a basketball for the first time, which is a story for another list, but watching Spicy's passing, ball handling, and confidence in the clutch get this much better in his 4th season has been something damn special. Similarly to Giannis's development, Siakam looks nothing like the player he was from his first 2 seasons, but Pascal's production is the product of a 7'3" wingspan being meshed with savvy guard skills, including a fundamentally sound shot from distance and patented spins. 3 times I covered the Raptors before the league suspension, covering everything from Nick Nurse and Lowry to my GOG, but nothing's more shocking to me than 2019's MIP Pascal Siakam somehow improving even more and taking a step towards superstardom. Number 8, the Miami Heat. Writers at ESPN had Miami as the 7th seed on August 27th, which are the standings projections that we've been looking at. I had them as the 6th seed on July 13th, but South Beach is instead witnessing Heatles 2.0 and seeing their Heat compete for the 3rd seed. The addition of Jimmy Butler's eliteness defensively hasn't surprised anyone and of course makes Miami the legit top seed they are. He has shot a career low from three-point range, but here's what more than makes up for that for the Heat. Firstly, there's Bam Adebayo, who in his 3rd season has morphed into debatably the most well-rounded center in basketball. Adebayo can lock both the paint and the perimeter up, which is scary because man's got a 38.5-inch vertical. He's also a nightmare Karl Malone-like force scoring the basketball inside. Next, Miami's got the controversial dunk champ but rising wing Derrick Jones Jr., and then there's Kendrick Nunn, who thinks he's Rookie of the Year, which is a little
Blasphemous!
to try and argue that away from Morant, but it's understandable. Kendrick, like anyone would be, felt disrespected getting undrafted and went on to score the 2nd most amount of points in rookie history in his first 10 games. It's fair for him to want that respect, and his story's pretty damn shocking. Can't not talk about one of the league's rising snipers, and another undrafted phenom like Kendrick, Duncan Robinson, who's shown he'll be around for many years and has a ton of potential. In Duncan's 2nd year, he shot a staggering near 45% from deep, and his rookie teammate on the wing Tyler Herro shot just under 40. It's clear, efficient floor spacing around a top two-way player Jimmy Buckets and beastly breakouts from youngins all around have fueled Miami's 2020 success so far. Number 9, the LA Lakers. You've heard about them on SportsCenter, Bleacher Report, and hey, even I've been a victim of clinging on to the Lake Show hype. Bottom line is, our society collectively really can't look away when an approaching 36-year-old is flying out of the gym like the King has this season. An unforeseen losing season in 2018-19, a season filled with turmoil, seemed to make LBJ appreciate being on top this year to an extent we've never witnessed before. I could tell you about the Carew Show, their veteran role players, Dwight Howard's revamped play, Kuzma's potential, or AD fitting in this well, but without the evident leadership, but more so hungriness of LeBron James in 2020, who knows where the Lakers would be. King James has pleasantly shocked the basketball universe, maybe more than anything this year. I had them as the 4th seed, ESPN had them as the 5th seed. Collectively on both sides of the floor, they've meshed better in their first year than anyone could have presumed. If you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up to help this video spread to more people. This was your boy D-Flow. Thanks the world for tuning in. Keep watching some of my recent uploads, and I'll see you next video.